Yes, hello. Welcome to London for yet another amazing launch press conference for yet another groundbreaking Riyadh season event. But this time with a twist. We've all been watching those Riyadh season shows like, wow, this is incredible. But now, September 21st, some of that magic gets sprinkled on Wembley Stadium for really what could be, what should be, and we'll speak about it with these fellas here, maybe the biggest show in the UK ever. I'm delighted to be in the company of former European middleweight champion Matthew Macklin. How are you, Matt?
Not too bad at all, Dev.
Good to see you. And boxing's walking, talking College of Knowledge, Mr. Steve Bunce. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, I'm fantastic, Dev. Absolutely fantastic.
Now listen, top to toe, this show, we know about this show now. It looks like something very special.
You know what? Sometimes when we hear there's going to be a big event, pre-Riyadh season, we know there's going to be a big event. We got this fight, then the rumour goes, then this might be on the undercard, then this might be on the undercard. I don't like to lie. I'm going to hold my hands up, and I'm going to tell you that when we actually get to reveal all of this undercard, there are 3 fights on the undercard I would never have got. The 5v5, we all knew what it was going to be eventually. It was the worst kept secret
you mean the
in
masks,
boxing.
didn't
Yeah.
it? No.
But this one here, there's 3 of those fights that made me chuckle. We never knew. And then as for the top of the bill, whoever thought you'd be standing here announcing and revealing the top of the bill? Because I asked the 2 boxers that earlier today, and both of them looked at me and said, I didn't think we'd ever be here either. So trust me, it's not just me and them. I think it's everybody.
And Matt, look, it's very clear Riyadh season has changed boxing. It's very clear His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh has changed boxing. Look around, look at these shows. You've been out there with me. Incredible.
Yeah, look, we've all been involved in this game business a long time, and look, when money makes the world go round, and he's and not just money, but it's got to be directed in the right way, and passion and drive and vision as well as money. Yeah, money's a part of that, but if you haven't got the vision, you're just throwing money up the wall. Where you look at the fights here. I'm not going to announce them. I'm going to leave that to you, or when it gets announced. But there are some great matches on there, and all the shows we've been out in Saudi before, Fury Usyk, okay, that was historical, undisputed. But listen, that 5v5, that was a brilliant card.
You know what? Matt's absolutely right. The money does make the world go round. It might sound a bit crass. It might sound a bit gross. It might sound a bit insensitive. It's all 3 of those things, don't get me wrong. But it's also, Dev and Matt, the truth. But you also need the boxers to want to buy into it, to want to commit to it. The promoters, and by the way, here's an absolute spoiler for you. It's not 1 promoter, it's not 2 promoters. Wait for it. It's 3 promoters involved with this big one. So that should give you a clue of where we're going. Everyone's got to buy into it. It's all very well having a couple of million in a bag here for your fighter and 20 million in a bag here for your fighter. The boxers have got to buy into it, and they've got to buy into it, Dev, over a certain length of time. So since October last year, it has been all about what we've had when we've been out in Saudi Arabia, out in Riyadh. And I've got to be honest with you, I think we've had, and I was talking about this on 5 Live recently, I think we've had about 20 top of the bills. Maybe even more, maybe even 25 on the 4 or 5 shows. That's going some, isn't it?
That's going some. And I think one thing that maybe has caught people off guard is people were maybe expecting all of these big shows to just be happening in Riyadh. This vision has now extended beyond Riyadh. August 3rd, they are in LA. Terence Crawford against Madrimov. Perhaps another fight that may not have happened without this Riyadh season money. And now we are, September 21st, in the UK with that magic being sprinkled here. It's a great time to be a boxing fan.
Unbelievable. Listen, those Saudi trips were great, and I'm sure there'll be more, and we'll enjoy going out and doing them because they're great shows to be working on. But obviously, it's great that it's here in the UK. It's brilliant that there's going to be 100,000 fans at Wembley Stadium. What gets better than that, really?
You know what's interesting? I started 40 years ago in this business. I was very young when I started, before either of you say anything, obviously, clearly. I mean, they shouldn't have even let me in the building.
You're a baby, Steve.
Thank you very much, Dev. I'm pleased you said it. But when I started, I was just in newspapers. And I was really envious of the cricket correspondents and the tennis correspondents. And I'll tell you for why. Not because of the sport they covered. I couldn't care about tennis or cricket. But because they knew where they were going to be, not just this year, but the next year and the next year. So if you're a tennis correspondent, you know exactly when you're going to be at Wimbledon in 2028. No disrespect of us in boxing, we hardly know where we're going to be at the end of July or the end of June, and it's the end of June this weekend. Well, that's how we are. Now, one of the things, hopefully, that the people pushing and creating this whole Riyadh season phenomena, how about this, and I'll throw this to the 2 of you, how about if we know, set in stone, that 21st, 22nd of September, that's Wembley. The first weekend of August, that's LA. The second weekend in October, that's Riyadh. The last weekend in December, that's Riyadh. Wouldn't it be great if we could wait for it actually have some stuff planned for 2 and 3 years. Wouldn't it be beautiful?
This is what boxing has been crying out for. They've been crying out for a fixture list.
Yeah.
This is the closest I've seen to a fixture list. Touch wood.
Correct.
It all
Correct.
Well,
yeah,
look,
correct.
it's a bit like, you know, in the UFC, you've got UFC 252, and that's happening on such and such a date.
Yes.
Whoever's on UFC
It's
252,
irrelevant.
we don't even
Great
know,
point,
but
man.
we know that's happening.
Why can't we do that, Matt? Why have we never been able to do it until October of last year? Why has that never happened?
Money, vision, and then the people that are willing to sit around the
Yes.
table, collaborate to put it all together.
Well, it is all together, and it will all be together September 21st. Let's talk about it. You can't ignore this. You can't ignore these faces, these heavyweights, these
Was it
British
those two?
hard-hitting. Yeah,
I had
so
no
I
idea.
hear. So
Why
I
doesn't
hear.
someone tell me?
The rumours are true. It is Daniel Dubois defending his IBF World Heavyweight title.
Jerry having that rematch from way back.
I'm a bit upset.
But it's Dubois Joshua. I mean, this is huge. If you're going to have a Wembley Stadium show, you fancy a couple of British heavyweights fighting for a world title, it's a special fight, Steve.
Oh, you know what? We've had a few all British heavyweight title fights, and 1 or 2 of them have worked. 1 or 2 of them haven't worked. Let's be brutally honest about this. This one has to work. The knockout stats tell you it has to work. The fact that both men are unbelievably confident tell you that it has to work. And also, how much more is at stake going forward after this. And it's always good if there is that massive carrot for both of them. It's a huge fight, and it'll be 100,000. Talking to different promoters today that are here, Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren. I said 90 in both interviews with them, and they corrected me both times and said 100,000. Because so remember when they started doing fights
That's
here,
a record.
that'll be a
That would
record.
be,
When we
yeah.
started doing fights here, they were the first fights, or they were at the end of COVID, so the police weren't quite sure about how many to license, so the police held back 10 or 12,000 or 15,000. That's one of Carl Froch's arguments, as you know. So consequently, with this, it's 100,000. It's a monstrous event. I'm not even going to begin to give away any of the undercard. That's phenomenal. But Daniel Dubois and AJ, between them, whatever it is, knockouts, I think they've had about 3 points wins between them as a maximum, with something like 46 or 47 knockouts. You can't invent fights like that. That's what happens in Hollywood, not in real life.
100,000 people, as Steve says, as he's had confirmed, I'm sure. Twice by the promoters. 100,000 people, Wembley Stadium, Daniel Dubois, 26 years old, Anthony Joshua, 34 years old. Perfect.
Well, look, you've got Dubois, who's coming off the best performance and best win of his career. You've got Anthony Joshua coming off that devastating knockout against Ngannou. And you can say, yeah, he's MMA and all this, but listen, not everyone was saying that
didn't
fight
say
week
before.
out there, let me tell you.
Didn't say it when AJ was walking to the ring, did they?
No, so, you know, in terms of timing for this fight to happen, it probably couldn't get any better.
And it feels like these are two heavyweights where Riyadh season has invigorated both of them. Both have had big wins in Riyadh where they've kind of, the perception of them with the public has changed. We saw Anthony Joshua, he was up against it, you know, he was kind of rebuilding. He'd had Franklin, Helenius, people were still like, what's going on here? Valin and Ngannou, different guy, same with Dubois.
And also, we have to remember with Valin, it's all very well, like Matt hinted at there with Ngannou. Valin was ranked in all of the bodies. Valin had only lost the hard fight, the Tyson Fury fight. Valin was a 6'6" youngish, avoided southpaw. All of those things got overlooked. The second AJ started to pulverise him with the jab and the big rounds. That was a great win that gets massively overlooked. Then the Ngannou. And then, of course, we got the 2 Daniel Dubois fights. Jarrell Big Baby Miller didn't see him off, but took care of him when he was a hard, brutal fight. And then, of course, the Philip Hrgovic fight. I'm going to ask the pair of you. I'm sort of throwing things back at you two today because we're killing a bit of time. I love it. Those 4 fights, did they happen, those 4 fights, without Riyadh season?
Listen, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we'd have seen Joshua Ngannou, for example. I'm not sure we'd see Ngannou as part of the kind of heavyweight scene without Turki Al-Sheikh, without everything that's going on with Riyadh season. So I'm not sure, but
You wouldn't have seen him, and I'll tell you why you wouldn't have seen him, because people who were in the positions they were in when they were fighting each other would have been waiting around to get a title shot.
Bingo, Matt. That's the correct answer. But they would have been waiting. Hrgovic would still be waiting now. They've had 2 Treadwater fights. Daniel Dubois would have to have maybe taken a bigger risk or gone down another route, and he'd be treading water. AJ would be trying to get back in the mix. Everyone would be treading water. That's the one thing that's happened since October with the whole Riyadh season phenomena. This sort of unofficial league that might become official soon. is this making these guys fight each other? As I said, it's not just the money, okay? That's too simplistic an interpretation of this revolution. There has to be willing from the fighters and their promotional companies, and by the way, their TV companies. I mean, look at this here. TNT, BBC, he's a Sky boy. He's on our platform.
You're very welcome.
And we might very well, before we know it, someone from DAZN wander over in a moment and
they'd be
talk to
welcome
us.
too.
Of course they would.
Collaboration like never before.
Like never before. I love it.
Listen, very good, very good gestures there from Steve, all above board. So tell me about Daniel Dubois. We talked about how AJ, he had those 2 wins in Riyadh season. Daniel Dubois had wins not just against Miller and Hrgovic, but against demons, against critics. Redemption for Daniel Dubois heading into this.
I think AJ had enough of those demon wins. I mean, he might deny it and he might sort of look away and become a bit introverted, but we know he battled some demons to get to where AJ is now. And so did Dubois. Whose demons were worse? I would probably argue that Dubois were worse, because he was living with those 2 defeats, the Usyk defeat, and more than that, he was really living with that bizarre fight that we saw. We were privileged to be in company of about 60-odd people right in the hotbed of COVID in 2020, when he was leading on 2 scorecards. Then he went down on a knee. Now, people use the word quit. He went down on his knee. Is that quitting? Well, he quit the fight, but he quit comfortably to fight another day. I was a massive defender of it at the time, and I'm still a defender of it, but he still quit the fight. I mean, that's, you can, it's pedantic to find a word for it. The bottom line is, he couldn't continue, the pain was too great, he knew it was seriously damaged, and he took a knee. All perfectly legal. And he took some pelters, let's get it right, not just from the online community. People forget that, Dev and Matt. A lot of boxers that, I would argue, Matt, maybe should have known better, really steamed into him. I was a bit disappointed with that.
Look, as you've said there, he chose not to continue,
Bingo.
so he did quit. Now, that's not, no one knows what pain he's going through, what the thoughts were going through his head. Did he think there was permanent eye damage? Maybe I don't know. But what I don't know, watching it live, he sat out the count, didn't he?
Absolutely.
So he did quit.
Oh, yeah. Well, no one's disputing that.
So you could say the same happened in the Usyk fight.
Absolutely.
Right, after the low blow, or not a low blow, or whatever, you could say again. But I think in the Hrgovic fight, he exercised a lot of demons, because there was a phase in that fight where it got really tough in there, and maybe he would have sat it out.
The old Dubois, the previous Dubois.
But he didn't. He bit down on the gum shield, he dug deep, and he pushed through. And I think that would have given him a lot of confidence, a lot of self-belief, even when he's in that situation in this fight with Anthony Joshua.
Let me ask you this, Matt, and I'll ask you as a fighter. And it's I've got to be careful how I word it. I thought his tactics for the Hrgovic fight were dreadful, but it worked in the end. Just taking it to Hrgovic, using your face, taking so many shots, 20, 30, 40 big right hands in both the first and the second round, if I'm not mistaken, and not flinching, and then catching Hrgovic a lot. Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that was almost him going through some kind of penance?
Well, Steve, sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off. Let's head over to this huge press conference. Let's head over to Ali Al-Adipe.
Now, before we get going, I'm sure by now we've all seen the very sad news about the passing of DeAndre Jones, the son of the great Roy Jones Jr. And I'm sure I speak for everyone in the room, everyone watching at home, when I say our prayers and our heartfelt condolences go out to the Jones family and everyone that knew DeAndre in this extremely difficult time. Welcome everyone to another Riyadh season special, this one, the Wembley Stadium edition. At this time, we would like to express our thanks to our host, and those that have once again made this super event very possible, the custodian of the 2 holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, and to His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and to His Excellency, the Chairman of GIA, the General Entertainment Authority, His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. The last 12 months in the sport of boxing have shown that once again, boxing has the ability, if it wants to become one of, if not, the greatest sport in the world. It's a title it certainly had in the 70s and the 80s, big fights being made, big fighters fighting regularly, big fights put on. What we have all seen in Riyadh season is just that, big fights. The fights we as the fans have waited for years. We've seen drama, we've seen upsets, we've seen world titles change hands. We even saw Francis Ngannou nearly pull off the biggest upset we've ever seen in the sport of boxing against Tyson Fury. We've seen Queensberry absolutely destroy Matchroom in the 5 versus 5. We've seen fighters that were wrote off rise again, and we've seen the great Alexander Usyk crowned the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. That theme of big fights and big events continues on September 21st, and it doesn't get much bigger than an event at the National Stadium in front of 90,000 fans, headlined by former two-time unified heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua versus the new IBF heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois. And as you can see behind me, a stellar cast on the undercard as well. Enough from me. Let's get out to the stage, the most important people, the fighters. To do that, your MC, Mr. Thomas Treiber.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the press conference for a great night of World Championship Boxing, Saturday, September 21st, from Wembley Stadium in London, England. It is the Riyadh Season Card Wembley Edition, brought to you by Visit Saudi, Middle Beast, and Red Sea Global, with Frank Warren on behalf of Queensberry Promotions and Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing, in conjunction with Riyadh Season, National Events Center, the General Entertainment Authority, GIA, Gold Star Promotions, and Sella, in association with Wasserman Boxing and Boxer. Let's first welcome Mr. Kala Sauerland of Wasserman Boxing. Mr. Spencer Brown of Gold Star Promotions. Mr. Ben Shalom of Boxer. Trainer Don Charles. Trainer Ben Davison. Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing. And International Boxing Hall of Fame promoter, Mr. Frank Warren of Queensberry Promotions. Let's now welcome some of the great fighters on this card. First, let's welcome from Armthorpe, England, the undefeated Josh Paddy Pedley. Let's welcome from Portsmouth, England, the undefeated Mark Thunder Chamberlain. Let's welcome from London, England, the undefeated Joshua Buatsi. Let's welcome from Carstairs, Scotland, Willie the Hutch Train Hutchinson.
Go on, Will. Go on, my son.
Let's welcome from Sunderland, Tyne and Ware, England, Josh Pretty Boy Kelly. Let's welcome from Liverpool, England, the former world champion, Liam Beefy Smith. Let's welcome from Leeds, England, the former world champion, Josh the Leeds Warrior Warrington. Let's welcome from Belfast, Northern Ireland, the current world champion, Anthony the Andy Town Apache Kakechi.
Yeah, it's all right, you know. There's some good people in there. There's some good people.
Let's welcome from Rowley Regis, West Midlands, England, Tyler Denny.
Mate, I said should be paying me really. One show, one show on my card, and he's fucking won a jackpot.
Let's welcome from Ilford, Essex, England, the undefeated Hamza Shiraz.
Out of one fight straight into another. I mean, probably only feels like an hour ago you was in the ring. No.
And now let's welcome International Boxing Hall of Fame ring announcer, the one and only Michael Buffer.
Thank you, Thomas Driver. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have met the outstanding fighters, each and all deserving headline recognition, and that's all leading up to a special main event. On Saturday, 21 September 2024, here at this legendary site of spectacular events, of sports and entertainment, Wembley Stadium, London, England, Riyadh season will continue to make fight fans' dreams come true, as two of boxing's greatest promoters join forces to present two of the best heavyweights in the world in a 12-round contest. Our promoters, representing Matchroom Boxing, Mr. Eddie Hearn, and representing Queensbury Promotions, Mr. Frank Warren. Ladies and gentlemen, now officially the Riyadh season card, Wembley edition, main event. 12 rounds of boxing for the IBF Heavyweight Championship of the World. At this time, let's welcome champion and challenger to the stage. First, with an outstanding record of 21 victories, 20 of the 21 by knockout, 16 KOs in his career in 4 rounds or less. Ladies and gentlemen, he only has 2 defeats from London, England. Please welcome the now 2-time heavyweight world champion, the newly crowned, officially IBF Heavyweight Champion of the World, Dynamite, Daniel Dubois. Woo! It is official. And now, ladies and gentlemen, officially, the challenger, an Olympic gold medal champion, 28 victories in his career since becoming a professional, 25 of the 28 by KO, only 3 defeats. Now 17 of his knockouts in his career have come in 4 rounds or less. He's a 2-time heavyweight world champion from London, England. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the man known as AJ, Anthony Joshua.
Wow. That's a lineup of fighters and promoters, and it is good as well. And I say this as a boxing fan, to see several different promoters on the top table, I think it helps the sport, and hopefully this can continue to grow the sport of boxing in this country and around the world. To coin a phrase from the great Michael Buffer, let's get this party started. I do want to hear from all the fighters and the promoters. I first want to start with Spencer Brown from Gold Star Promotions. Spencer, you've been a key component in these events in Riyadh, getting off the ground. And here we are. We've been waiting for this one, a big Riyadh season event at Wembley Stadium, the home, the national home of the England football team. 90,000 people plus will be there. Talk to us about the importance of an event coming back to London, but also the success so far of Riyadh season.
Yeah, look, welcome it to everybody, and some good fighters on here today, isn't there? Look, I'm just going to reiterate some things I've been talking to Turki Al-Sheikh with today. He's over the moon to be putting this card on. He's a massive lover of England. There's a lot of synergy between the two countries, and he's really looking forward to the event. He's been, you know, one of the main people in doing the card. So although we might put the card together, he's the one who chooses the fights. He's the one who wants to see it, and he's particularly happy with giving some fighters chances that they may never have, you know, or never have. So, you know, and it's all about Riyadh season. It's all about the synergy between our two countries, and it's all about bringing a massive event, you know, because we haven't seen this event for a very long time. We haven't seen a Wembley, and he promised us this a long time ago. We sat with him and he promised this, and Frank will probably tell you, and he's made it happen yet again. He's put his money behind it. The country put the money behind it. Look where we are now. This massive event, and he's got 3 more massive events to come as well. So, you know, we're really looking forward to this. And he just told me to reiterate that he hopes everybody's happy with the card. Hopes it's a fantastic day out, because it's not just going to be about boxing. This is going to be about entertainment as well. So that will follow, and you'll find out all about this. So it's not just about the boxing. This is about entertainment, and the fight, the top of the card is unbelievable. 2 English heavyweights going at it. We're really looking forward to it.
Indeed, and you look at the fighters that have been assembled, and you know it is going to be entertaining fights. A lot of these fighters don't fight on the back foot. They're very, very aggressive. Frank, just to follow on from what you heard there from Spencer Brown, again, the importance of a Riyadh season event at the National Stadium. Look, we've had some incredible events in Saudi Arabia. I mean, nothing beats the Tyson Fury-Alexander Usyk fight, but it is fantastic to get an event here.
Listen, the historic Riyadh season is iconic now, and it's because of the season, His Excellency, that this is happening at Wembley. We've got a fabulous, fabulous card. Probably the most stacked card in British boxing, certainly in my time in boxing. Phenomenal card. It's headlined obviously by Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua for the IBF title. And I've got to say, you know, this is happening because of Riyadh season. It's happening thanks to the custodian to Holy Mosque, King Salman bin Abdulaziz, His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman, also His Excellency, obviously, Turki Al-Sheikh and the Riyadh season. We're working together with Eddie Hearn, Matchroom, and Spencer Brown at Gold Star, Dr. Rakan and his team at Seller, and GEA. It's been very important, because if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be putting a stacked card like this on. This is what's making it such a historic boxing event.
All right,
and it's the think it's the first time Riyadh season have been in this country, and I think it's when you look at it, we're better than to do it at National Stadium at Wembley. Wembley Stadium hosting this unbelievably world-class event. And tickets will be on sale on Friday on Ticketmaster.com from midday, and it will sell out. This will sell out very, very quickly. So get online and get your order in.
Well done, Frank. You ticked every single box there. You should be standing here instead. Let's go to the fighters. And Spencer, you spoke about fighters getting opportunities, fighters getting that call, and maybe changing their life. And Josh Padley at the end there, Josh, that is you, isn't it? Really, getting that phone call, getting that opportunity. Tell me, what was it like when you got that phone call to say you're going to be fighting on one of the biggest cards, as Frank said, maybe the biggest card we've ever seen in this country?
As from about 10:15 last night, I actually set my alarm to go to work tomorrow morning today. So now to be on here, big stage with some of the best fighters that Britain has got to offer, it's quite a surreal moment for me.
Yeah, I mean, that moment will stay with you, but again, there's an opportunity there, isn't there? To beat Mark Chamberlain, the WBC silver lightweight champion, you then propel your career if you can get the W.
Definitely, yeah. I want his spot, I want to be where he is, so the only way to do that is beat him.
Beat him indeed. Mark, it's been an incredible journey for you in Riyadh season, one of the big success stories of Riyadh season. 2 fights there, 2 wins, 2 knockouts as well. We know that you are His Excellency's favourite fighter, and you go again.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to be back. 2 big platforms back to back. So first of all, I want to thank Turkey for giving me this massive opportunity, and obviously Frank Warren, my manager and promoter, and everyone who just puts the work in the office for making this happen for me. And then just got to put on a big performance on the night and keep pleasing, and I'm sure we'll be welcome back again.
How important is it that there are no slip-ups? You're on the cusp now of a world title fight, right? Fighting those guys that are top 10 in the world. How important is it you go in there, head screwed on, and do a job?
Yeah, it's crazy to even see my name up there in the top 10. But obviously I've worked all my life for this, so proves hard work pays off. Just got to keep delivering and get the win and keep pushing on.
Yeah, great division, great fight, that one as well. I think one of the best divisions in the country is the light heavyweight division, stacked with talent. And one guy that I think surprised a few, maybe not the hardcore fans, but certainly the casual fans, is Willie Hutchinson with that magnificent performance against Craig Richards. He steps up again this time to fight Joshua Buatsi. Willie, what are the thoughts going into this one? You were super confident last time. You said your name's on a world title belt. What's the feeling right now?
Well, listen, I'm very thankful to be here. That's the first thing I want to say. I'm very, very happy to be here. Listen, I'm always bundling with confidence. I'm the wrong person not to have confidence. And listen, I'm absolutely grateful for everything, do you know what I mean? A massive card I'm on, and I'm, like I said, the last one, I'm ready to get the job done with him and move on to the next one. So I'm soaking it all up and I'm enjoying myself, and look at the people. I would never ever think I'd be in the lights of the table with these type of men, do you know what I mean? I'm only a little lad from Castairs, Scotland, like. So I'm very grateful, I'm happy, and yeah, looking forward to putting on another big performance, get the job done.
In terms of a challenge, Craig Richards was a challenge. Obviously, Joshua Buatsi's slightly different. Again, on the cusp of a world title. Do you look at this as a big step up?
I think he's very similar to Craig Richards, if you want to know the truth. That's the gods and the truth. I think he's very, very similar, if not the same level as the man I just beat. So, yeah, I'm very, very confident in getting the job done against him and moving on.
Joshua, you heard it there. He likens you to Craig Richards in terms of ability. And a lot of people saw you beat Craig Richards. Everyone knows you're that level above. Would you make it when you hear that?
Before I answer, just to thank a few people. Again, very grateful for the opportunity. I want to thank God, my team that's worked tirelessly to make this happen. To be fighting on the Riyadh season, we can't complain. We're all grateful for it. My promoter, boxer, His Excellency, very grateful. And the opinions for the opponent means nothing to me that day. We've been here too many times, so we have 12 rounds or less to settle it. It's that simple.
There was a lot of talk, obviously, of a different opponent, and that opponent's been spoken about now for maybe a couple of years. It isn't that opponent, it's Willie Hutchinson. How different do you have to change your mindset because it's not the person you thought you were going to fight?
It's not the person I thought was going to fight, but it's the person that's going to try and beat me. So it's the same.
Frank, I want to quickly bring you in. Obviously, you promote Willie Hutchinson. He did surprise quite a few, Frank, in beating Craig Richards. You were always confident in your man in the 5 versus 5.
About it, but I generally feel that, and that's the reason we really push for this fight, that Willie can beat him. And that's why we're here. That's why he's here, to go and win.
For an interim world title, can we guarantee the winner of this will fight for a world title next?
The winner of this fight will be the mandatory challenger.
In the country, or widely considered for a long time, and he'll want to prove that on September 21st. He's going to have to put in a big performance, but extremely confident. I think Hutchinson has had a great win against Craig Richards, but this man's on another level.
It should be a fantastic fight. Two very confident fighters. Again, if you watch Willie Hutchinson against Craig Richards, you know that he's a top
160 will suit. I'm looking forward to putting a great performance on. I think stylistically it's one of the best matchups on the card, and I think we could steal the card for sure.
Is it a forever at 150 or 160, or are you going to go back down to 154? What's the plan?
Not myself ready. I'm in shape, so I'm ready to go now. But 160, 154, it doesn't really matter for me. I'm a big 154, and I can fill out to 160. So we'll soon see. We'll soon see.
Let's welcome in a former world champion at 154 pounds, Liam Smith. Liam, it's been a while since we saw you. Obviously, the last time was against.
I knew it was signed and sealed. You know, me focus is on Josh Kelly, and it's a fight that I'm looking forward to. It's a fight that I'm massively confident to win, and obviously I think, you know, Josh and Adam probably feel they're getting me at the right time, but, you know, there's been fighters before who made that mistake, and I think they'll do.
Do you think one of the big keys here could be experience, big fight experience? Obviously, you have travelled the world. You put on really good performances away from home as well. Maybe we haven't seen as much as that yet from Josh.
Yeah, look, obviously, it's, you know, Josh has got to step up at some time. This might be a time, but, you know, from my point of view, looking at it, I think Josh and I think they right time, and the same way probably Anthony Fowler thought he was doing it after Russia. You know, I think Josh and Adam are doing it after the Chris Eubank fight and the time out the ring. But that's
well, first of all, Spencer said it yet again. This Riyadh season, the global takeover. We just got our breath back from Riyadh with the Undisputed and Eddie v. Frank, and it goes to LA, and then it comes to London, and this is a historic card.
Did you answer the question about do you think you got him at the right time?
Yeah, but I said, you know, I mean, and the whole Smith family got a bit of history.
That fight, Anthony Kakache and Josh Warrington. So many magnificent performances, I think, over Riyadh season. But I do think Anthony Kakache's performance to Joe Cordina might be the... Was you surprised that Josh took the fight?
No, I mean, it's a world title shot. I mean, anyone who's turning down world shots, you know, I don't understand, because I mean, this is the pinnacle of the sport, and that's what everyone wants at the end of the day. So, I mean, I'm not surprised one bit. No.
Eddie Hearn and Frank Smith, Frank Warren and George Warren for you know, putting the show together and coming together again. And of course, the main man, His Excellency Turkey. You know, we wouldn't all be sat here. I mean, look around. I'm again echoing everyone else, but a lot of fighters here on the listeners. There's nothing but respect between me and Anthony, and like he says, it's going to be a very fan-friendly fight.
Josh, it is one win in your last five. I don't think that really tells the story of your record, because a lot of those fights have been fantastic. The Luis Alberto Lopez one was very, very close. But it is one win in five. Is that extra pressure just to make sure you get the W now?
Nah, not whatsoever. You know, people will say, oh, fucking hell, why is he getting an opportunity again, ticket seller? Why is he getting an opportunity? Well, you know, it's boxing. Like I said, His Excellency wants exciting fights on there. You know, back in the day, Roberto Duran lost to Marvin Hagler, and then went straight into another world title fight against Thomas Hearns. one of my favourite fighters of all time, Marco Antonio Barrera, lost to Eric Morales in a world title fight and then went straight back into another world title fight. You know, Rider season is about having exciting fights, and yeah, you talk about an L that I've taken there, but I've only been in exciting fights. You know, this is my 8th world title fight. Every other fight that I have every fight I have is a fight of the year contender, and boxing fans want to be entertained. They want to see two fighters going at it and giving it their all, and that's what I'll be bringing on September 21st.
No doubt about it. We've seen it before, and I'm sure we're going to see it again. Apologies for the language as well,
Sorry,
Josh. Yeah, it's all right, Josh. It's okay.
Northern.
I get it. We're friends. It's fine. Eddie, I want to bring you in. We have another Queensbury versus Matchroom fight here. Obviously, your record so far in the recent weeks hasn't been the best. In terms of Josh, obviously, every time you've worked with Josh, he's always put his best in the ring. He's always done so well. What are you expecting from this one?
110% every single time. I'm so pleased for Josh. You know, this is a fight like some of these other fights that got made last night and yesterday. Everything got finalised with contracts, and you know, we finished everything with Josh about 8 o'clock last night. Train ticket was booked. Off he comes. I think Kakachi broke a lot of people's hearts against Joe Caldina. He was fantastic that night, and I think Josh really deserves this. You know, people talk about coming off defeats. Look at what he's done. You know, he's already a 2-time world champion. He's filled stadiums in Manchester and, you know, arenas and Headingley and Manchester Arena, Ellen Road. He's a fantastic fighter. I think super featherweight's really going to suit him. He's been at featherweight for a long, long time, and every Josh Warrington fight is a thriller. Now, he probably want 10,000, 15,000 tickets for this Riyadh season event. Unfortunately, they're not going to get them because they're going to go like hotcakes. But I think this is one of the fights of the night on what is a tremendous card. And it's been a frustrating period for Josh. I've literally, every fight that I've offered him, he said yes to. And we couldn't get it over the line. Now he gets the dream chance, as he said, to become a 3-time 2-division world champion.
Frank, let's quickly bring you in. Kakachi is your guy. We did most of the interviews in the ring after your wins out in Riyadh, and I feel like this one gave you the biggest smile as well, just because we know what he's been through, struggling to get the fights because of injuries, and now here he is, a two champion, right? IBF and IBO. Is it going to be and still?
He did, and so seized the moment. You know, he was. We really fancied him in the fight against a very good fighter in Joe Caldina, but he totally dominated the fight from the first bell, and he was looking. It was brilliant. In with Josh, you know, Josh won the world title. Leads on our show we put together for him, and he's a good fighter, but I think he's in with somebody who is coming into his own now. He's had, as you said, a few disappointments over the years, but you know, if you're patient, you keep at it like he's done. He went out and showed what he's capable of, and he showed, you know, at that level he is absolutely world class. It's a fantastic fight. The winner of it's going to have the mandatory challenge against Eduardo Nunes, so that again's a big fight. But, you know, this is one of the great fights on the card. It's going to be an unbelievable fight, competitive fight, but I have a lot of faith in Anto, a lot of faith in him, and I believe he'll deliver again.
Yeah, another competitive fight is in the middleweight division, and I was in Birmingham on the weekend, and I saw Tyler Denny put on, I think, a masterclass for a few rounds against Felix Cash. Maybe the underdog in the bookies, but not in my eyes. He looked really, really good in the lead up to that fight. The current European champion, and he gets his shot against Hamza Shiraz. You just fought a few days ago, Tyler. Here you are again on another big one. An underdog in some people's eyes, but I know you have supreme confidence you're going to get the job done.
Yeah, of course. Firstly, I just want to thank Turkey, Spencer Brown, PCB, Errol Johnson, and this man here, Ben Shalom. I think it come up on my memories. 2 years ago today I won the English title, and here I am now, so let's keep grafting. But yeah, I fought the other, Saturday, and the last few days have been mental, lack of sleep and getting excited about this, and then trying to not get too excited until last night when it was confirmed. But we're here now, and I'm buzzing with it. Hamza Shiraz, top fighter, someone I respect as well. Can't say a bad word about him if I wanted to. But saying all that, I'm here to win, man. I'm the European champion, man, and I feel like I'm going to get a good performance on and get the win.
Indeed. I feel like Hamza's going to echo all those statements as well. Hamza, fantastic win against Ammo Williams. That puts you in a position to fight for a world title. You take the call, you fight the European champion. What did you make? You would have watched the Felix Cash fight, I'm guessing, against Tyler Denny. What did you make of that performance?
Yeah, man, this is big time boxing. It's great to be here. First of all, I'd like to thank the Almighty Allah for allowing us to be here. I'd like to thank His Excellency Turki Al Sheikh and the team, you know, for allowing my dreams to come true. At the same time, it's an honour to fight on such a great undercard. And Anthony Joshua is someone who I've looked up to my whole career. I've moulded myself around him, so you know what I mean. It's an honour to say the least. And going back to your question, yeah, I watched the fight. Good performance, definitely a good performance. But at the end of the day, this is boxing. It's a brutal sport. It's about being hungry, making it happen. And I've got respect for Tyler as a person, but when it comes to September 21st on fight night, it will definitely be brutal, to say the least.
You could have waited. You are in a mandatory position. You've decided to take this fight rather than wait for the Carlos Adames fight, the WBC title. Why have you done that?
Because it's the opportunity that was given. Listen, I gave the green light to all the names that I put in front of me. I gave the green light to them, and it wasn't meant to be. And this is it. It's written. Myself versus Tyler Denny, Wembley Stadium, September 21st. Let's have it.
Let's go back to Tyler Denny. Tyler, again, look, I think incredible performance. You're going to need another incredible performance. Have we seen the best of you? I almost feel like there's still a few more gears to go.
Yeah, I feel like if you ask my coaches what I do in the gym, they get very frustrated sometimes. I don't always show it. And I think the better the opponents, the better I'll be. And I think Hamza ticks that box for that. I think he's... people who's write me off against Cash, I beat him. But Hamza's another step up. But my confidence is sky high at the minute. And I feel like I'm invincible as well. Willing to take on any challenges. Wembley Stadium, Hamza Shiraz, it's a no-brainer. I'm there.
Ben, quick word from yourself. Obviously, you look after Tyler Denny. Magnificent win, as I said, on the weekend. This is a completely different task, though, isn't it? I mean, Hamza Shiraz is touted as one of the best prospects, not just in the middleweight division, in all of the divisions in boxing. How tough a task is this for Tyler?
It is a huge test, but I tell you what, this is a whirlwind. This is a fairy tale that never seems to end. When we got the call on Sunday, I didn't even want to tell Tyler until it was signed. This is truly life-changing, and I thank Spencer and His Excellency for making this British boxing story come true, because he deserves it. I mean, he's been written off his whole career, so this is nothing new. Every fight he goes into is the underdog, and he's going to have to step up again, and he's done it. 6 back-to-back wins now, many unbeaten fighters on that record, and this is another big step, but I believe he can do it, and I believe he's there to prove people wrong on September 21st.
All right, there you go. That's the undercard concluded, and now we go to the big boys. Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois, former two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. Anthony Joshua against the new IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Daniel Dubois, coming off that incredible performance, I felt, against Filip Hrgović. AJ's been to Wembley Stadium before. He's had some fantastic nights there before. He goes again. Daniel, this will be your first time in the National Stadium, and I expect Daniel to perform as well. Before we hear from both fighters, I do want to hear from both trainers first. I want to start with Don Charles. Don, I do think since Daniel Dubois has been with you, we've seen a change in Daniel Dubois. I felt like we saw that against Alexander Usyk for a few rounds. We certainly saw it against Jarrell Miller, and obviously we concluded it with that Filip Hrgović performance. What have you done to your man?
Well, it's all that. By the way, good afternoon, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, for coming down to support this great historic event. History to be made. Going back to what you asked me in terms of improvements, it's there for all to see. It's a work in progress. We've been together, myself and Daniel and the team, for 12 months. So people have to remember that it's just 12 months. And what he has done in that period, and we're operating, in my opinion, in 35/40% capacity. There's so much development and growth to come. So what he's achieved in that period, in the last 12 months, it's unthinkable, and we're just getting started.
In terms of a loss on a record, a lot of people say you take a lot from your wins, but you can take a huge amount from a loss as well. When you look at that fight against Alexander Usyk, considering who Alexander Usyk is now, can you take a lot from that defeat?
Most definitely. Every disappointment, every time you go out there, whether you don't succeed, you learn from, whether it's a good or bad experience, it's still an experience, and you learn from them. Obviously, we're terribly disappointed for the outcome. It was a fight of two halves. We won before we lost. So we've got to learn in situations, should that happen again, to be able to close the show, So it's an experience to be learned from that situation. Of course, is as much as I can sit here, and we've accepted it basically, and acceptance is a way of cure. You move forward.
Let's go to Ben Davison, the trainer of Anthony Joshua. Ben, since AJ's been with you, I think he's looked perfect, right? I mean, we all have been hearing people say we want to see the old AJ, the old AJ. I don't know if that adage is true, but what we can see now is that we are seeing a very, very confident Anthony Joshua. I'll ask the same question I asked to Don to you. What have you changed in AJ?
Nothing really. I just think that maybe it's the way that we articulate what it is that we want him to do, and we set out a game plan. He's as good as it gets when it comes to executing.
You and your team, Lee Wiley and everyone backstage, I know you're very, very articulate in terms of the way you break down fighters. You would have broken down Daniel Dubois. You would have looked at those performances. Give me a positive first about Daniel Dubois. What does he do well?
I'm not going to talk about his strengths and weaknesses. That's for us to go away, work on, dissect, and plan to overcome. But like I said, we've already done the groundwork. It's just a case of going through that with AJ. And like I said, I know when it comes time to execute, there's no one better.
And so far, so good in terms of execution from Anthony Joshua. Okay, let's hear from both promoters, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn. We'll start with the champion promoter first, and that's you, Frank Warren. Frank, you've had Daniel since he turned pro. I feel like we've seen everything with Daniel, the ups and downs. You've always backed your man, and right now you have another heavyweight champion of the world. You must feel really blessed with the story of Daniel Dubois, considering the amount of critique he got against Joe Joyce to where he is now.
He's not the challenger, he's a champion.
I said you got the champion. I said you have the champion, yeah.
The challenger. Look, he's done brilliantly. He went and fought Hrgovic when a lot of people chose not to fight him. He was undefeated at the time and done a magnificent job. First couple of rounds were a little bit tough for him, but he overcome that and showed what he's all about. And the prize at the end of the day was this fight at Wembley. And it doesn't get any better than this. You've got two Brits in there fighting for the IBF title. Two probably are the biggest punchers in the heavyweight division. And as we all know, when you've got two quality British fighters fighting each other for such a prestigious title, or a prestigious title, you always get a classic fight. Big punchers, it won't go to distance. Somebody's going to go. I've got my opinion who I feel is going to win. That's why we've done this fight. And one thing's for sure, it's going to be exciting. And it's one of them where you can genuinely say, do not blink. Do not blink.
I was watching a few old interviews, Frank, in the lead up to doing this, and for a few years now you've been saying you fancy Daniel Dubois against Anthony Joshua. You've wanted the fight. Obviously, this gets Anthony Joshua to the table. But why have you been so confident, and why have you been wanting this fight for so long?
I think because of styles. And in the last year, Anthony has matured, not just as a fighter, mentally as well. And you've seen that. He's gone into his last two fights, and the bookmakers had him the underdog in both those fights, and he fought in those fights like he was the favourite. And he'd go into this fight with a lot of people, certainly I've seen with the bookmakers as being the underdog. I don't see it that way. I've got a lot of respect for what he's done. Certainly lately, AJ, he's on a roll of 4 wins. But if you look at the last couple of fights, Anthony's fought better quality fighters. Daniel's fought better quality fighters. And I just feel it's his moment. He's 26 years of age. He can punch. He can box. He's a great finisher. If he gets you in trouble, I think he's probably one of the best finishers out there. And it's a battle of hearts and mind. That's what this fight's going to be about. Who's got the strongest heart and who's got the strongest mind? They're both big punchers, and who's going to have, to find their plan B when they get in trouble. The jab is the key to this fight.
Eddie, let's bring you in. Obviously, long-time promoter of Anthony Joshua. You've had him since after the Olympics. You've had some incredible nights. Let's not forget Wembley against Vladimir Klitschko, Wembley against Povetkin. You travelled the world with AJ for huge success. Here we go again, back Wembley Stadium. AJ looking to become a 3-time heavyweight champion of the world. Sell your man.
I mean, the resume, the history speaks for itself. Just to reiterate what Frank and Spencer said earlier about this incredible movement that we're seeing in boxing. I mean, what We're 9 months into the inception of Riyadh season. And I think when we began this journey, no one believed that Riyadh season would leave Riyadh. And His Excellency says he wanted to bring a major event to the UK, to Wembley Stadium. I didn't necessarily believe him at the time. I thought it was all hyperbole in an interview. And it was the truth. What he's done is create, in my opinion, one of the biggest nights the sport has ever seen in this country. And that sits just 6 weeks after Riyadh season Los Angeles, which is fast approaching as well. So we're very lucky to be on this journey, and very lucky to be on the journey with Anthony Joshua. I mean, quite nostalgic walking around today, thinking back to the days of where we were. I suppose we were the rookies, really, walking around Wembley Stadium with 90,000 people, hearts beating out of our chest as he dethroned Vladimir Klitschko in the other greatest night in British boxing history. And he gets to do it all again here to become a 3-time world heavyweight champion. An accolade that sits with very, very few. And it's a real fight. We respect Daniel Dubois. I think he's done incredibly well. There weren't many screaming out to fight Filip Hrgović. He did it. He stepped up. And I'm so glad that he's champion, because AJ can come in, as he always does, with a challenger mindset. But when he beats Daniel Dubois, he would have beaten another champion to become a 3-time world champion. This is just part of the journey to Undisputed, which we've never lost sight of. And we see it. We see it clearer than ever. In the shape of his life, in the form of his life. This man to my right has done an incredible job. So, yeah, in terms of selling him, just sit back and watch at night that he's going to make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. A thrilling main event, 2 Brits fighting for the world heavyweight title, and a breathtaking undercard with these guys down here that's just been put together in the most stunning fashion.
Final one, Eddie. If I were to have asked you or told you that AJ is going to be fighting in front of 90,000 at Wembley Stadium and it's going to be a Frank Warren fighter, you probably wouldn't have thought it would be Daniel Dubois. How incredible has his turnaround been?
AJ never really asks who he's fighting. Obviously, myself, and I want to thank as well 258 that have done an incredible job throughout the journey as well. Take care of the business with AJ. He will fight anybody. And when Daniel got the victory, that was the opponent. It just happens to come with a shiny red and gold belt that makes even more history for, I think, one of the most pivotal characters in the history of our sport in this country, in Anthony. And it just feels perfect. The timing feels perfect. So confident, so relaxed. It's just like bread and butter for Anthony Joshua these days. Another stadium, another big challenge, more pressure, ready to do the business.
Ready to do the business indeed. All right, let's hear from our 2 main event fighters. Let's start with the champion, Daniel Dubois, the new IBF heavyweight champion of the world. Does it feel a bit different? You've heard me say that now a few times, the IBF heavyweight champion of the world. That's a dream, right? Fighters start out and they want to become champions. You now are that. Does it feel any different?
Yeah, a little bit, finding out. I would have loved to win it on the night of my last fight, but, here we are. I'm grateful, I'm blessed, and, we keep going.
Have you found out something about yourself with your last 2 performances? You had to dig really deep against Jarrell Miller. You found something. You found that second win and got the late stoppage. You had to dig really deep against Filip Hrgović, and you found something there as well. Do you feel like you're finding something out about yourself after every single fight?
Definitely. I'm learning more about myself, how to be, as a fighter, as a person, coming out of the darkness, going into the light, and, being a man of the future and, improving all around as a fighter and athlete. So, yeah, really up for this, ready to go.
I asked Frank about the call-outs for AJ. You've also been calling out Anthony Joshua for a while. For a long time, he was the top dog. Was that the call-out, or was there anything else in it?
That's just where I'm aiming for, to be the best, to fight the best and beat the best. And, AJ's been the king for a long time. And, we all know he's been the king for a very long time. And on the night, I need to become a king slayer. And that's my goal, and that's the mission at hand. So I'm just ready to go.
You are underdog in this fight. That doesn't really mean much because you've been underdog against Jarrell Miller and you're underdog against Filip Hrgović. How confident are you, Daniel, that you can get the job done September 21st?
I'm ready to let my fist do the talking, I'm 100% ready to go. I'm going to go to camp, focus, and train like a beast. So, yeah, bring it on.
As you've always done, bring it on, Daniel Dubois. Let's go to AJ, 2-time former unified heavyweight champion of the world. Here we are again. As you've always said to me, next man up.
Yeah, correct, next man up. Congratulations to Daniel for winning his last fight. I went out there to watch it live, and we're here now. And before I carry on, we have to give a shout out to all the promoters on the table, bringing this card together, and especially His Excellency as well, because he's brought me some unbelievable opportunities to fight, and this one is near enough topping it, bringing Riyadh Season to the UK. Phenomenal opportunity, but as I said, I went out there to watch the fight. Good fight between the two of them, Hrgovic and Dubois. I picked Dubois to win as well.
Yep.
I watched boxing closely, and I picked him before, and it came true, and we're here. So I've been having Dubois on my mind for a while, and he'll be on my mind for the next 12 weeks until I get my hand raised.
You say you've had him on your mind for a while. You've always been linked with Deontay Wilder and potentially a Joseph Parker rematch. Tyson Fury's name has been mentioned for the past decade.
Yeah.
Not much Daniel Dubois. So you've had to almost, I guess, realign your mind quite quickly, right, recently, because he's not really been thought of as your opponent.
No, not like the way they mention like Fury or they mention Wilder. Not in that same breath, but I'm not silly either. I know the game. We're all in the wild, innit? We're a pack of lions and we're hunters, so I've got to keep my eyes peeled. I can't just focus on those two and not worry about anyone else. So I've always kept my eyes peeled on Daniel and the rest of the heavyweights as well. So whoever it was going to be in there on that seat, I would have still been ready to fight September. So yeah, it just happens to be him now.
Yeah, obviously, look, it's a massive night for Riyadh Season. We are going back to Wembley Stadium. You were so successful there against Vladimir Klitschko, against Povetkin. Is the carrot being dangled, that extra kind of cream on top, if you like, the fact that you are looking to become a three-time heavyweight champion of the world?
Not necessarily, if I'm honest with you, because the goal is just getting through a successful training camp, doing exactly what I need to do, instructed by my team and my coach, and then performing on the night. And then the shiny stuff comes at a later date. But for me, the goal is just to kind of focus on what's in front of me. And that's a good training camp, a good performance, and everything else comes after that.
He's a young man, Daniel Dubois, only 26 years of age, right? He's been around for a long time. You're slightly older, obviously still in fantastic shape, but slightly older, Anthony. What's it like now, these new young heavyweights coming up that you've almost got to slay?
Well, being an old man, basically.
Being an older man.
I feel fresh. There's my shoulders clicking. Nah, I feel good. Like, I don't drink, don't smoke. Have a little turn up now and again, but I still don't drink, don't smoke. And that's about it. That's my only vice, just socialising. So I feel good. Thank God I didn't get caught up in no antics outside of boxing. I use boxing as a path to keep me on the straight and narrow. I didn't use it as a path to kind of take me off it. So yeah, young fighters coming up, look after your bodies, look after your minds. It will pay dividends in the long run. So for this fight here with Daniel, it don't matter if I was 35 and he was 15, 20, 25. It don't matter. It's just a fight, and I'm in peak condition. I feel good. I feel strong. So yeah, age is just a number in this one.
All right, I do want to get the final words from Eddie and Frank. I was going to ask this question to AJ, but I know how AJ won't answer it, so I'm going to come to you. And AJ, feel free to jump in if you want to on it. Obviously, this is for a heavyweight title. There is a big fight December as well. Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk. Is the big plan here, Eddie, potentially, if AJ comes through this one, to fight the winner of Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk?
I think the answer from AJ would, of course, be September 21. But as a team, we have a plan, we have a vision, and we've always believed he will be undisputed champion. As it happens, the rise or the re-rise of Anthony Joshua has given us more confidence than ever, and we don't see anybody in the division beating him, not just Daniel Dubois, anybody. And again, that's the work that he's put in. You know, he talks about he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke. Any young fighter, any young sportsman wants to understand how to live your life, follow Anthony Joshua. Every day's training camp. You know, it's not how long do I have to get ready, it's just he's ready and he just turns it up when camp begins. So we've had a dream, been manifesting the Undisputed Championship, and that's what's going to happen. It's not a case of if or maybe, and there's no plan, there's no contract to fight the winner. It's just going to happen. He's going to win this fight, and then he's going to beat the winner of Fury Usyk. But he's just focused on September 21. I've just got wild dreams that I just know are going to happen, because I can see it, I can smell it, and I can breathe it, and I can't wait.
Frank, obviously I have to give you a chance to rebuttal on that. Obviously, look, your guy could be potentially fighting for an undisputed heavyweight title. What do you make of Eddie's words there that it's going to happen? You can already see it in the stars.
Eddie's very confident of Anthony. and I'm very confident of Daniel. We'll find out on the night. You know, styles make fights, all those cliches, everything. But you know what? Once that bell goes, they're going to get down on it, and it will be exciting. There's no doubt about it. They ain't going to be fiddling around trying to feel each other out. This is going to be warfare in the ring. That's what it will be. This is going to be a great, great fight. And this man here is going to be successful in defending his title. That is how I see the fight, and nobody's going to change my opinion on that. That's how I see it, and I believe he'll do it.
Great fight, great main event, great undercard as well, sorry.
And just, I've got to say it, don't forget, this Riyadh season card, the Wembley edition, 21st of September, Friday, tickets are on sale at Ticketmaster.com from midday. You better get your ticket order in now, because this is a guaranteed sellout. This is absolutely the best card that's been on in the UK in my time in boxing. A fabulous, fabulous night of quality boxing, thanks to the Riyadh season. Don't miss it.
I had that written down, Frank. I was going to say it.
I know,
but
we're just naturally promoters. So
no, very true.
Promoting the show, that's what we're doing.
Very true. Just before we do wrap, I just want to quickly get a word from Hamza Shiraz. Hamza, obviously you are a Riyadh season ambassador as well. Congratulations on being that. What does that entail? Does that entail promoting Riyadh season as you always do?
Yeah. Just a massive thank you to His Excellency for believing in me, for choosing me to have that role. And yeah, it just entails promoting Riyadh season, really. Promoting Riyadh season, turning up to all the events. I went to the UFC the other night. It was a great event, and I mean, I can't express through my gratitude through words, really. So it's all about just putting on good performances, carrying on winning, and just giving back, really, and promoting Riyadh season to the best of my ability.
There you go. Fantastic fight card, fantastic main event. As I said, September 21st from the National Stadium, Wembley. We're expecting something very, very special. Just to add something extra to that as well, we are going to have a huge music act performing there as well. And if you've covered Riyadh season, you know when I say huge, it will be a huge performer. All right, the fighters are going to do face-offs for the media now in front of us. So let's get ready for that.
Well, there we have it. That is our press conference. A lot of confidence up there. I think Eddie Hearn was very, very, very confident in his man. He can see a big, big picture. But Daniel Dubois, a man who very much lets his fists do the talking, I think he's saving up a lot of that for September 21st.
Well, we know earlier on today there was not a confrontation, but certainly a flashpoint between the two when they were doing one of their many head-to-heads. We know that. One thing I also got there, Dev and Matt, was just how happy everybody was, how confident everybody was. I think they're all boxing fans, box-to-boxing fans. I think they all know they're involved in something, and that must be a great thing. You imagine that, you're part of. Daniel kept using an expression to me when I talked to him earlier. I'm going to be part of history. I'm going to be part of history. They don't make those belts, but that's a real belt, being part of history like that.
No, it absolutely is. And you look at someone like Josh Padley, who got the call quite late on, wasn't sure whether or not he was coming to work today or if he was coming to a press conference. He's come to a press conference, suddenly he's up there on a table with Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn's there, Frank Warren, Daniel Dubois, and all of these stars that he's probably been watching on the telly.
Yeah, and if he's to spring the upset and get the win, it'll roll on to the next one, because that's what we've seen with the Riyadh season. It's almost like the winner stays on. If you're on a platform, you're given an opportunity. If you seize that opportunity with both hands and perform to your best of your ability, win, it's very, very likely that you're going to get another, at least another spin out of it.
Well, we're about to see him face off with Mark Chamberlain. Mark Chamberlain has become a real favourite around Riyadh, a real favourite of His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. And if you've watched his last couple of performances in Riyadh, deservedly so, he's looked very good.
The win over Gavin Gwynn was a great win. I thought he started that as a big to very big underdog. I've got to be honest with you. And he made easy work of it. I think maybe Gavin Gwynn was surprised. That was a brilliant win, a really brilliant win. I know a bit of a joke here, but a bit of humour. In the last build to his last couple of fights, he kept saying how he wanted a holiday. Well, he's definitely enjoyed that holiday. He looks about 2 stone heavier there. So both of those guys were just doing ordinary jobs. Well, Josh was talking about going to work today, and of course the famous Mark Chamberlain story is he was on his way to work when he got plucked from absolute obscurity, really, to come over and fight in Saudi. So that's fairy tale one. Let's see how many times we can do that.
Yeah, well, listen, Tyler Denny, you know, he's the modern day Cinderella man. I know we got Boazzi and Hutchinson there.
Well, that is the power of Riyadh season. And look at this, Willie Hutchinson insisting on getting closer to Joshua Boazzi. He might just have to get pulled apart here. Fantastic fight this is at 175 pounds. WBO interim title on the line. And they are going at it here, Steve.
You know, me and Steve was saying before, Boazzi a few years back, you know, well, a good few years back now, for me, he was someone that I thought was absolutely nailed on to go all the way, be world champion, possibly unify. And, it's not that when I said it hasn't happened, it's not that he's been beaten or anything like that, but it's just stagnated. It just hasn't caught that fire.
Yeah. I mean, 2016 he wins the bronze medal down in Rio, and I saw that against the odds in 2 of his 3 wins. And I expected him to be 2019. COVID was part of it. Switching management was another part of it. Being a little bit stretched, different coaches was another part of it. But I've got to be honest with you, Willie Hutchinson is wasting his time if he thinks he's going to get inside Joshua Boazzi's head. That is an impenetrable dome, Dev. Take it from me. Nothing's going to get inside Boazzi's head.
I'll tell you what, though, I do love it because there are marks on the floor as to where these fellas are supposed to be standing when they face off. Willie Hutchinson having absolutely none of it, saying, I want to see Joshua Boazzi. I want to look into his eyes.
Listen, Hutchinson is bang up for it there. He believes in to the absolute core that he's got what it takes to beat Boazzi. I make him an underdog. I think Boazzi wins it, but I tell you what, it'll be a good fight.
Certainly will. WBO Interim Light Heavyweight Championship on the line. Of course, the undisputed fight takes place in October in Riyadh between Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. And how about this fight? Liam Smith, beefy, taking on Josh Kelly. I mean, this is one that really seemed to come out of the blue at £160.
You know what? I'm pleased it's £160 because I didn't want to see Liam even trying to get down to 155 or 156. This one really got me out, and I was telling to Matt, I think I'm quite close to Josh Kelly. So I shouted up to Josh Kelly in Birmingham on the weekend. Said, Josh, you got anything on? He went, no, nothing in a moment, Steve. That's how close I am to him. 100 hours ago, he told me he had nothing on. Honestly, my ego's been seriously dented by that, Dev.
They've been very careful, these fighters. I can see there hasn't been too much that's gone out. We don't want to see things given away. And what about this?
Hey, listen, this could be the fight of the night. We're on about action, all-out action, tempo, ferocity. This could easily be the fight of the night.
And I think I'll make Kakachi after beating Cordina, one of the most dangerous fighters in the world, because he is fearless. He's got nothing to prove. He's made not all the money he's going to make, but he's done what no one ever said he could do. My golly gosh, I tell you what, he's a dangerous fighter.
So that week, I'm not going to say that I said Kakachi was going to win. What I did say was he's going to perform, because you just knew it, the way he spoke,
so
the way he
confident all week, wasn't he, man?
He just, and in the fight against Cordina, it was just his night. He was a man possessed. He was prepared to go through the fire, the ice, whatever it took.
Yeah.
He was going to go through it. He was not going to be denied. And if he can bring that same spirit into this fight with Warrington, then we're in for something special.
Well, I think there's going to be a big fire in this fight. Middleweight division, Hamza Shiraz against Tyler Denny. Tyler Denny keeps proving doubters wrong, and he keeps taking unbeaten records as well, by the way. Big scalp if he takes that of Hamza Shiraz.
It's a big scalp if he takes it, okay, because Shiraz, when Shiraz turned pro, there was a lot of fanfare, and he looked good. Then he kind of was a bit all over the place. Then he had that particularly awkward night against Bradley Skeet. And then he did what we were screaming at him to do for about 3 years. He moved up in weight. That's given him a bit of flexibility. By the way, I don't think he's finished with moving up in weight. And as for Tyler Denny, Matt talks about fairy tale. He'd be one of my top 3 unbelievable stories in boxing. I saw him ruthlessly beat Felix Cash at the weekend. I know it was cuts, then it went to points, but that doesn't tell the full story, Dev. From 6 feet away at ringside, it was a devastating win.
Yeah, I think he decided pretty early on in the night that he does not accept Cash, and Cash was not accepted in that fight. Still the European champion, of course, a belt that you've had before, Matt Macklin.
A couple of times, yeah, at the arena on Saturday. I was at that fight as well. Former European middleweight champion twice.
Well, let's just have a look at what's going on here. People being introduced up to the stage. So many involved in ensuring that these incredible events are taking place. So many parties, and boxing is the winner because of things like this, because of people getting involved. And what a picture that is. Spencer Brown there as well from Gold Star. Very influential. Big group photo of the undercard fighters of what looks like, for me, Steve, and listen, you've been around a lot longer than me covering these shows. For me, top to bottom, it looks like the best show that Wembley Stadium's ever seen.
You know what? I mean, I'm going to go and study it hard when now I've got all the fight details. I'm going to start looking at it, Devon. As you know, I don't score my thing just straightforward on wins and losses. I've got to see something about it, so previous fights. And I tell you what, I can't instantly think of shows that were that much better than it. I might go away and find 5 shows. Let's be honest.
You won't, Steve. You won't.
No, I don't think I will. I'm looking at this right now. And it's things like Kakachi and Warrington. That's my Achilles heel. Fights like that are my Achilles heel. Buatsi against Hutchinson. Fights like that are my Achilles heel. And Tyler Denny is my Achilles heel.
What a
I just
story.
love fighters from the dark side, the wrong side of the tracks. I really do.
Well, they're all very much on the right track, and that track leads to September 21st at Wembley Stadium. Riyadh season comes to the UK, an unbelievable night of boxing coming up, and the headline act, as you can see on that big graphic, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, the IBF World Heavyweight Championship on the line. That belt recently vacated by Alexander Usyk last night. Things got moving very quickly, letters went out. Before Daniel Dubois knew it, he was a world champion.
Before he knew it, he was a world champion. Can we just set for a second and just discuss one of the 2 things we've learned today about how many of these fights, 2 or 3 of them, maybe 4, fell into bed in the previous 24 hours? I mean, and this is not a joke. I'm not sure I've ever known that. You always get a fight, all fights have to fall into bed. But you've got a conference that's cost thousands and thousands. You've got Michael Buffer flying over. And then suddenly you haven't got the fight. And then they all get made. They all get made in a 12-hour period. That's absurd. That's a first, man.
But I wonder, Steve, how many other fights were in the pipeline, and it's like the first deal that it's done.
You know what? They were in the pipeline, and they fell out of bed, but then they're the ones that emerge. I remember talking to Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, I think before the December show in Saudi, and him saying to me, no, some of these fights, they were going to be back in October, and there's some tonight that won't be now. You're going to see them next year. I'll let you in a secret, right? Eddie, Frank, and the Saudis, boxing people, they've got stuff planned a long way forward. I mean, I'm talking about a fixture list. They've already got a fixture list in their head. They've certainly got a roadmap of heavyweights.
Well, look at this. Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois facing off. It will be them. Top of the bill, September 21st at Wembley Stadium. At this time, Anthony Joshua is the challenger for the world title. Daniel Dubois, for the first time, defends his IBF crown against Anthony Joshua. And I tell you, I'm not sure who is going to look away first here. There is an intensity in the eyes of AJ, which we are used to, Steve.
No, I can't see. I think I'm not. See, so there comes a point, unless they're pushing, Dev, when someone looks away, it's just because he wants to go home. He's hungry. Poor old Dubois doesn't know where he doesn't know if he's coming or going. AJ right now, he's just hit a calorie low because he's been out of the gym and he's been away from food for a long time. So that stare, we can try and build it up, but it was only about a 5 or a 6
Come
out
on,
of 10.
Steve, I was trying to build it up.
No,
Really, you just want a Snickers.
Yeah. Listen, send them backstage for 5 minutes, feed them up, then have them come back out. That's what I reckon. A bit of Red Bull in their system.
Well, with Daniel Dubois, you talk about him not knowing whether he's coming or going. That is because he just got off a flight today. He's been in Brazil, rushed back to the UK, and that's another point to perhaps how late these things are left in terms of finally getting over the line. But Daniel Dubois is here now. He looks ready to go. And you talk about how earlier on today, it did sound like it kicked off. I'm not sure if you were in the room, Steve, but during their face-off...
About 10 minutes after it happened, I was talking to a couple of people that were in the room, and I'm not saying they were white and scared, but they were a little bit shaken. I think it was a little bit more than he said, she said. I really do, yeah. So, hey, and both the promoters said to me, I got no problem with that. I like to see a little bit of that. I like to see a little bit of that. And so do I. What I hate, some people say you don't like hype, Bunty. I do. I like hype if it's genuine. What they don't like is fake tables being thrown. And people who weigh 9 stone being able to hold back 13 stone men. Because that's physically impossible. So it's like, stop me, Matt! Stop me! I'm not a fan of that. But what happened, I think, in the room earlier on today, I think was genuine.
Yeah, I think it was real. From everything that I've heard, it was real. I'm looking forward to seeing the clip. I'm not sure if that clip's gone out yet. Just a reminder that tickets are on sale midday on Friday, and I would advise, and I'm sure you guys both echo these sentiments, just get them as quickly as you can. They are not going to last. I would imagine maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. What would you reckon? 5 minutes? What do we think?
If 100,000, I'd say somewhere between 2 and 5 or 6 minutes, but they will be gone. And of course, then they'll be available elsewhere. So get in first. Or don't. If you want to watch it at home on pay-per-view, watch it at home on pay-per-view. But if you want to go, if you want to get the experience, allocate some time. You did it when you got Swifty tickets. You did. You did it, Dev. You were telling me he was on the phone for 12 hours getting Swifty tickets.
I'm a big fan of
Put the shift in. Put the shift in and get the tickets.
Or get your mate to.
Yeah, get your mate to. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I actually got the Taylor Swift tickets myself, and Taylor, I'd quite like a freebie next time, if possible, Taylor. But listen, big fight. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the pictures up there of the entire card. It looks like something so special, and that top of the bill, that Anthony Joshua, that Daniel Dubois, it's something special.
It is something special, Devin. I know we talked about the fact that we couldn't make it in our mind. And when you look at those stats, what is it? Whether I said it was 46 knockouts or 47 knockouts between them, it's not just that. There is a bit of animosity going back to whatever did or didn't happen in some sparring session. And I'm not a big lover of the sparring session stories, but it has been there. But more than that, there is something about them. They will gel. AJ will have no problem finding Dubois with that big right hand. The right hand that Hrgovic landed 30 or 40 or 50 times. Don't worry. Well, here's the other thing. Dubois would have no problem landing his big looping jab. He had a great jab. We used to talk about it. And then the big right hand. They'll have no problem hitting each other. And when two men that have got proven track records of beating all sorts of heavyweights, the ones that aren't that good and then the ones that are good, when they hit each other, things happen. And this will be an emotional night, a roller coaster of a night. Imagine if it's a bit warm as well. It'll be a phenomenal night. And Frank Warren talked about it would be a battle of the jabs. Well, jabs would be important, don't get me wrong. So will right hands. But I tell you, I really believe this could be a big head fight. The man that gets in that ring, the calmest man. The man that can walk through 100,000 people and get in there and hold his hand out and it's not shaking. That man has an advantage, I'm convinced of it.
Well, AJ has the advantage there in the sense
Bingo.
that he's been here before, he's been in the bigger stages, do you know what I mean? He's had to deal with pressure, the Olympic... Dubois has as well to some level, but not the same degree as what Joshua has. But, you look at the firepower that's in that ring between the two of them. And listen, they've both been hurt, they've both been down, they've both been stopped.
Absolutely.
I'd be flabbergasted if someone doesn't get knocked out in this fight.
Yeah. Maybe even early, Dev.
Yeah, well, that's what people are saying.
I think it will be early.
They're saying as soon as the first big punch lands, that could well be it. So we could be looking at a short fight.
I think a 4-round shootout.
Yeah, I mean, I think a shootout. I really do. And you talk there about, Dubois has been under that pressure. I mean, there was mostly that crowd in Poland with Ukrainians. There was a massive Ukrainian city inside Poland for a variety of reasons, historically as well as recently. So that was one thing. And so Dubois has also been on the undercard at Tottenham with Kevin Lerena, 60-odd thousand. So he knows what it's like to be backstage on a big night. He knows that. But AJ has been the big night. It's not a case of him being in the big nights. He's been the big night. No other amateur has ever turned professional after any kind of success, Olympic gold, European gold, or just the knockouts, and had to deal with the scrutiny and the pressure that AJ has been under since he left the Olympic ring in the summer of 2012. And then he started fighting the following October. People forget he had a big break. There's been no fighter in British history that's been under that much scrutiny for that long. So he understands pressure. He lives and breathes pressure.
Not even close.
Absolutely.
Not even close. From the London, he was a star really from the London Olympics, wasn't he? Yeah. And every fight he's had as a professional. Also as well, back in the day, all those other fighters never had to deal with social media.
Absolutely, by the way,
all the haters.
And by the way, I'm not sure Daniel Dubois has to deal too much with social media, which has probably helped him in those periods where he had the Joe Joyce loss, the Alexander Usyk loss, where he got absolute pelters.
Yes.
He's not sitting there on his phone. He's just not that guy. Probably helped him.
Well, we hope he's not, and we believe he's not. He's got his own faith, and his faith's increasingly important to him. And the faith helped him get out of those black holes, which he talks about. You know, he talks about being in those perilous states. You know, he talks about that roller coaster, not just being on a dip, but just seeming to go down and down and down and down. And he did manage to salvage stuff, and he did manage to regroup, and he did manage to build in the last 2 fights. We can see that. So you're absolutely right. Daniel Dubois was sitting at home after the 2 defeats on his record and looking at social media. I don't think he'd be here today.
No, you might jack it in, not just boxing.
Bingo.
Yeah, you might jack it in indeed. Let's talk about the trainers a little bit. Both trainers were up there. I think both trainers have actually made significant improvements to their fighters. I think that's without doubt as well. But Don Charles has kind of... He knows Anthony Joshua well as well, and he knows Daniel Dubois. It's going to be quite the night for Don Charles.
Yeah, it'll be an emotional night for Don, but there again, Don's an emotional kind of guy. He's a guy that gets really involved with his fights. He's known Daniel on and off since Daniel was about 16 and did some sparring in the gym when Derek Chisora was fighting Tyson Fury for the second time. So that's an awful long time ago. And of course, AJ's always been in and around that Finchley area. When AJ's been having his cooling down sessions in between the GB squad or various American trainers he's been with, he would pop in the gym and Don Charles would be there. So they'd get to know each other, as opposed not trained him, but he'd get to know him. And now, of course, Dubois in position there. And Don, conflicted's not the right word, but Don will, Don would be a big AJ fan, let's put it that way, as a human and as a boxer.
And another big AJ fan will be Ben Davison, of course, Matt. He's made a big impact on Anthony Joshua.
Yes, certainly the last 2 fights that he's had with been with Ben Davison and AJ's last 2 fights, there's definitely been a spike in improvement in performances. So confidence in himself, but confidence in his trainer, confidence in that relationship will be a big thing for AJ going into this fight.
Well, let's speak to perhaps the next big thing, Mr. Hamza Shiraz, Riyadh season ambassador. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm very well. Yourself?
Very, very good. Tell us a little bit about this fight. It's one of those, I thought you were going to be fighting someone else, and then
as did I, yeah.
Tyler Denny popped up, and you think, oh, that looks like a tricky fight. What do you think?
You know what, it's first of all, I'm blessed to be on this card. I can only fight whoever they put in front of me. I gave the green light to about 4 opponents, world champions and class opponents. I'm not saying Tyler Denny isn't, but this is one of them fights where I feel like everyone's saying it's such a big step up for Tyler, they're forgetting about what I can do.
Good point.
Fights like this, if I don't take it serious, it's a banana skin. But if I do take it serious, a fight like this can take me to the next level in terms of how I turn up on the 21st. And I can assure you lot now that you're going to see the best version of me without a doubt.
See, at the moment you're in that position, Hams, where you can't even have an okay night in the ring.
At all, yeah.
Every night's got to be your best night.
Yeah.
Every night's got to have something different and show us something different. Because that's just the reality of being in the position, and it's a privileged position.
Yeah.
It's a position you fought your way into.
Yeah.
So you can't even. I mean, this is nothing against Tyler Denny. He was brilliant. I was ringside for the Felix Cash fight. He was sensational.
Yeah.
But you can't have even a slightly off night.
Not at all.
Good pressure, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good pressure. Exactly. Listen, to be the likes of the Canelo Alvarez's, to be the likes of the Floyd Mayweathers, you've got to be put in this position, and you've got to be consistent.
Absolutely.
Because to be like a world level fighter, consistency is key.
Absolutely.
And if you keep performing, keep putting on these better performances, you just get bigger and better, and it is what it is. And this is what makes it a dangerous fight, because there is no pressure for Tyler Denny.
It is a danger fight.
There is no pressure for him. The pressure's all on me.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, I don't think there can be more pressure than my last fight, having him extra knockout points on you,
as the captain,
all on your shoulders. Do you know what I mean? So the last fight was a blessing, and everything that was involved in it as well.
And Matt, of course, former European middleweight champion yourself, this fight between Hamza and Tyler, it's fitting of that belt, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I know he ultimately wants to go on and become world champion, but picking up a European title along the way is a box ticked and one of the old traditional belts. And it'll just give him a nice step up towards that world level, which he's at now. But to get that shot, rather than waiting around till you get your shot, when I go become European champion along the way. You know, like say, got to get past Tyler Denny.
Exactly
and that man's on a roll, so you can't look past the guy like Tyler Denny because
it's a proper roll. And he's not beating these good fighters by fluke. He's beating them properly. You know, and he's improving. You know, he's a better fighter Tyler than he was 2 or 3 years ago. 2 years ago, the guy was still out plumbing or whatever it was. And I know you don't underestimate people. I know that. And I know you'll watch that last fight. But take it from me, Hans, I'm telling you, he did a job on Cash. It was a good job on Cash. Everything he threw and everything he did, correct, Matt? You were there.
I was there.
Everything he did, he meant everything he did. He didn't waste a punch or a move.
All calculated.
Yeah, exactly. And that's good.
And you know, I'll tell you what, I know he's not a puncher in terms of a big puncher, concussive puncher, but when, you know, in middleweight, you land clean, and you got good time, hits hard enough.
All it takes is a certain amount of pressure on the chin and you're out.
Yeah,
Do you know
that's
what I mean?
right,
So
that's right.
it's not one of them where I'm in there thinking he can't punch, I'm going to walk him down. It's not one of, listen, he's always defied the odds, so coming into this fight, you're going to think, it's what I always do. It's nothing new to me, exactly. I've done it before, I do it again. So,
listen,
you know what?
He caught Cash with a left hand there, left hook, and he stuck him in his tracks, he rocked into his boots.
But then, in all fairness, Hamza, imagine he wasn't here. I saw what he did against Ammo. Right, let's get that right.
And the rest, by the way, and the rest.
I mean, and Ammo's a nice guy. I love his backstory and all of his eccentricities. But he was a monster.
He was brilliant.
He was a beast in Saudi. Let's get that right. Hamza, just final one. You are a beast, you are a monster. Just sharing a card with Anthony Joshua as well. You mentioned up there someone that you've always looked up to. Must mean a lot, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you know what? When you find out you're on a bill like this, you don't really register it until you're sitting on the table up there, and then you realise, okay, I'm on the same table as these guys. And like I said, I tried to model myself around him outside of the ring, in terms of how he is, his professionalism, how he speaks, how he conducts himself. So it's an honour to say the least, man, and I'm just blessed.
You're doing a good job.
Good stuff. All right, Hamza, best of luck to you, my friend. Just going to swap you out. Steve Bunce, where are you going? I think we're going to bring you back in. Mr. Frank Warren, sir, how are you? Mr. Eddie Hearn, how are you? I'm all right, how are you?
Well, have you just got off holiday and you're from the 5v5? Every time I check your Instagram, you're swanning around the world.
Hey, look,
you just let all staff do this now?
He's well paid.
These superstars get special treatment.
Listen, we've been celebrating. We've been celebrating. It was a good win. It was a good win.
I said everyone's got to go in on a Saturday and Sunday since we got it.
Eddie, tell me this. You touched upon the 5v5 element there. This is another Queensbury versus Matchroom. This one feels a little bit different. Anthony Joshua is your friend. If this was a chessboard, it feels like he would be your king.
Correct.
This is an attack on your king.
Yeah, no, I said this one should be worth 20 points at least, so it would be 20-10.
Got to find a way to bring it back,
or at least 10. You know what I mean? But no, you're right. I mean, this is, that the 5v5 was about matching really competitive fights with some of our best fighters. This is our number one fighter, and this is one of Frank's. Obviously, you got Tyson Fury, but he has the world heavyweight champion at the moment. I mean, he lost one, and now he's gained one. And I'm pleased that Daniel is the champion, not just because it was a good win against Hrgovic, but I love AJ going in as the challenger in this fight. Every belt that he's won previously when he was not champion has come from a champion, and I think it's good to have that mindset. But yeah, this is big. I mean, listen, we all know AJ Dubois sells out Wembley on its own, but with this undercard, it's just sensational. I mean, every fight is a main event, and it's going to be a special night. When His Excellency said, I'm going to bring Riyadh Season to Wembley, it was in front of journalists, and I thought, how does that work? It's not, London's not Riyadh, and obviously look at what he's done with this, but not just this, with Los Angeles as well. And I think he just listens to fight fans. British fight fans have been very envious of all the big fights getting made out there. It's great for our time zone, but now they get to see it live at the National Stadium. It's going to be an unbelievable night.
And Frank, Eddie touched upon Anthony Joshua going into this fight as the challenger, with the challenger's mentality. Daniel is now the champion, but it feels like he too will have that challenger's mentality on this night.
Well, look, his last two fights, he's gone in as the underdog, according to the bookmakers. And I think the bookmakers have got AJ favourite, which I'm pleased with, because he knows what he's got to do. He's had a lot of things said about him unfairly, and he's certainly in his last couple of fights showed what he's all about as far as desire and the will to win, and also the ability to win. Showing, his physical attributes, his great jab, his punch power, and took some good shots, certainly in that early rounds of that fight against Hrgovic. This is a big moment in time for him. and he's very, very confident. I mean, I was quite surprised when we done that face-off upstairs. I mean, no love lost. I promise you, they were right at it between them, and it's, you know, you'll see it when it comes out. But it was quite fierce, and I just feel that, you know, he's a different person in the last 12 months. He's matured, I believe, more physically and certainly more importantly mentally. And he's right on it, and he's up for this fight. He wants it, and I feel it's a winnable fight for him. I really do believe that.
Just before we touch on the entire card, just on that flare-up during the face-off, that's now a couple of times we've seen this from Daniel Dubois with Filip Hrgović. A few expletives, a few beeps were used by DAZN. Does this surprise you, seeing this side of Daniel
Frank's
Dubois?
got into his head over the years that you've got to talk more, and now Frank don't even have to say anything anymore. It just comes natural. I mean, against Hrgović, he just randomly came out with, to be honest with you, I think he's see you next Tuesday. And then today it was Frank said, good luck, see you on the 21st, and not before then. And Dubois said, well, if you want to go now, we can go now as well. And Joshua said he's going to smash him over the face with a chair.
I think the Hrgović performance is very important going into this fight for Dubois. For him to get to that stage of a fight and to dig deeper and to come through it and then to go on and win, I think that'll give him a massive belief that he needs going into this fight. Whether or not he can get the win against AJ, I think if he hadn't had that fight before this, I would have made AJ a much bigger favourite than. I still think he's favourite, but I think it'll be more of a one.
Number one, he took a lot of hammer off Hrgović, which is impressive in a way.
Showed good chin.
Yeah, I mean, again, whenever you win, everyone starts questioning the opponent, don't they? Before that, Hrgović was elite. All of a sudden, he's overrated, he wasn't in shape. You've got to give Daniel the credit for that win, but he did take a lot. I don't think he can take that against AJ, but he's fighting very actively now. If you watch him, he's got a few new people in the camp. He's coming out all action. I mean, that fight, he came out, boom, from the first round. He was on him, throwing punches.
The negative is he probably took too many, but the positive is he took them.
Yeah, true. Well, that's one thing. But the other side of it is his power.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He's probably one of...
I think that's undisputed.
Yeah, but the point I'm making, if he clips, which I think he's capable of doing, he's got a good jab, if he clips AJ, how's he going to respond?
Yeah. Oh no! This fight isn't going 12 rounds.
No, it's not. Because AJ, I've seen him go on the back foot, in fights. So this, and I'm a bit of an old cliche. I keep banging on about it. It's about heart and mind, the mindset and the heart to win this. That's what's going to be the key to this, and it's all going to come off the jab. They both got superb jabs. We know they can punch. This fight is about who is going to have to maintain the discipline and work that jab, and the one who does that will win the fight.
It feels like AJ's turned into more of a sharp shooter as he's got older in his career. Daniel, much younger, exuberant. Are you nervous about his 8 years difference between them? Daniel, 26 years old, has got that youth, that style, that energy.
It felt a bit like today, like with the two of them, almost like how we felt when we came up against like Klitschko. Like AJ knows exactly what he's doing at all times. Daniel's at times sort of rocking around, just got back from holiday, come straight here, do you know what I mean? And obviously that's dangerous in a way because they're not as calculated and they're not as measured. Just feel really comfortable with AJ now. Like Ben, they believe they've got the game plan for Dubois down to an absolute T. And AJ is very, very sharp and precise with his punching at the moment. And the timing of bringing a fighter onto a shot, and what's going to be difficult for AJ is the work rate of Dubois. If he chooses to fight like he did against Hrgović, he was all action, didn't stop trading, didn't stop pushing him back. I don't know whether he can do that against AJ because AJ's a very sharp shooter. He's not going to be like Hrgović swinging away with his head down. It's neat, sharp shots that can take you out like a sniper. So. Just feel really confident in AJ walking around this place, walking around the stadium. It's all going to come down to the night, but yeah, for me, this is just part of the road to undisputed. Get this one done, and then hopefully, when Frank loses the world heavyweight champion, he gains another one in December, and then hopefully we can have a shootout for undisputed next year.
Hey, that sounds
What
good.
a fight that's going to be! Tyson against Dubois.
Mate, that's going to be special. Listen, just a word on the card. Matt, I know you're excited seeing all the fighters up there all at the same time as well. Might be the best card, it surely is the best card in the history of Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, without doubt.
Definitely Wembley Stadium. I mean, you're trying to think back, aren't you? Because there have been a lot of good fights cards over the years, but it's certainly the best in recent memory.
Normally you have like 2 good fights on the undercard, and then some good fights.
You'd have some 4-rounders, 6-rounders. These are all main events. That's what they are.
Like a Catchy Warrington. Like, that's got a fight there. The thrown in that fight.
What a fight that is, eh? That's a cracker of a fight.
Made that about 10 o'clock last night. You know, a lot of these got made. Good Tyler Denny. One on Saturday. I mean, we were talking about Felix Cash going in that fight. All of a sudden, it's a switcheroo.
Yeah.
You know, Tyler Denny gets Liam Smith against Josh Kelly. Great fight. Willie Hutchinson against Boazzi. I love that fight. You know, Willie had a great win. And that just shows you when you take the opportunity and you roll the dice and you win. It's like Willie Hutchinson. Goes into a fight. He was the underdog against Craig Richards. Wins that. Now he's in a massive fight at Wembley. So
I think that's a big thing. You see a lot of fighters and managers probably trying to hold their fighters back, not wanting to take a risk. Where what this Riyadh season has really shown, no, take the risk. You'll be rewarded for it.
Right, thank you so much, gentlemen. And thank you for joining us. September 21st, this Riyadh season magic will be sprinkled on Wembley Stadium. The main event, Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois for the IBF World Heavyweight Championship. And do not forget, tickets go on sale midday Friday at Ticketmaster. They will be gone probably within 1, 2, maybe 3 minutes. So make sure you get them. Thanks for joining us today.